Revival of spiritual energy, mysterious arrival, rule changes, and changes in times. I am the original superpower and also the strongest in the world. I didn't actually die, I was just stranded on a deserted island, searching for a precious treasure of extraterrestrial civilizations. Now there's only one last step left. I need a rescue team to transport this batch of treasures back. After returning to Earth, I will immediately make you become billionaires, rich and prosperous, with fame and fortune easily obtainable. What? No one came to save you. Well. Then I'll have to swim back on my own. Don't blame me for not giving you a chance. I can really swim back on my own. Keywords of the novel. I have no pop-ups for liver properties on the deserted island. I can download the complete collection of liver properties on the deserted island. I can read the latest chapter on liver properties on the deserted island. Chapter 1. I am trapped in a mysterious zone. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. I am trapped in a mysterious zone. Wow, wow, the rolling clouds cover the scorching sun, bringing a moment of shade. The waves beat against the rocky reefs on the shore, splashing with endless waves. Zhang Ming opened his eyes and found himself lying on the soft beach. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? A severe dizziness arose in his mind, causing him to involuntarily transform into a philosopher and ask the ultimate 3 questions of life. Not far away lay a broken airplane, with its nose, fuselage, and tail separated and broken into 3 sections. The remaining metal scratches on the beach recounted the disasters and accidents that had occurred before. Airplanes. Oh, the plane. Zhang Ming, who was in a daze, rubbed his temples with both hands as his dizziness gradually disappeared, and a large number of memories flooded his mind. As a programming ape, he works for a company with decent welfare benefits and miraculously won the first prize of the 10-day tour to Hawaii at the annual meeting. Then joy turned into sorrow, and during the journey, the plane crashed. The reason for the plane crash is also very strange. According to the captain's explanation in the broadcast, passengers, during the voyage, the satellite signal suddenly interrupted and the route deviated. It took us a long time to find the correct route. We are running out of fuel and have discovered an island. We must make an emergency landing. The chances of a successful landing on the beach are not high, and may God bless us. As for the final result, it is the appearance before us. The plane destroyed and people died. How could it be like this? Looking back at this point, Zhang Ming almost collapsed. He felt that all the cells in his body had stopped working, the heart no longer beats, blood no longer flows, the brain is blank, and even the spermatogonial cells with infinite division ability no longer divide. The legendary trip to Hawaii, a dreamland filled with big bare legs, bikinis, essential oils, and sunscreen, suddenly turned into an air disaster. What about the tour group that the company helped me book? Can I get a refund? Does the captain eat shit and have to make an emergency landing on the beach? Will GPS not switch to Beidou if it doesn't work? Wait, does the insurance company compensate? 1 million or 10 million? The down payment for a house. I miraculously survived the disaster. Will it be recorded in the Guinness Book of Records so that I can become an internet celebrity in the future? I, a miraculous survivor, you guys, donate money. Thinking of this, Zhang Ming woke up from the lantern and gradually regained his senses. The 7 or 8-digit insurance payout and his future career as an internet celebrity miraculously gave him a glimmer of strength. Climbing up from the beach, twisting and turning towards the pile of airplane wreckage. Hardening his scalp, he shouted loudly, "Is there anyone? Is there anyone alive? Is there anyone alive? Is there anyone?" The pungent smell of blood came head-on, and the scene inside the cabin was like hell on earth. Various mysterious liquids, like sauces, make the stomach acid reflux and blood gas surge. Zhang Ming's expression was extremely ugly. The cold death stimulates every nerve in him, not just the brain, but also the gastrointestinal nerves. The moment before, they were still alive, praying, trembling in their positions, crying softly, and writing suicide letters. In the latter moment, they died, turning into pure flesh, hair, and bright red blood. Zhang Ming tried to calm his mood, but felt his heart beating faster and faster, spinning around like the weight of the whole world was weighing down on him. I'm too lazy to think too much about insurance, internet celebrities, and so on. This scene. I won't be the only one alive, right? Suddenly, the sound of a sizzling electric microphone startled him out of panic. Asterisk noise, the asterisk aviation DS-898, this is Eastern Airport. Please reply upon receipt. Please reply upon receipt. Zhang Ming suddenly regained his senses and shouted loudly in the direction of the radio station, got it. My name is Zhang Ming, my ID number. I am a passenger on the plane crashed. I am currently on a small island and I am a survivor. I am still alive. Help. Help me. The radio station was taken aback for a moment, seemingly not expecting its endless calls, but actually receiving a reply. After all, it has been over 10 hours since the plane was lost. What is the status of the plane? How many survivors are there? What is the size of the island? Are there any human facilities around it? Zhang Ming looked left and right with a blue face and white lips, swallowed his saliva, and said, we flew in the Pacific for a long time, but the GPS signal disappeared and we found this island. In the end, we ran out of gas and had to make an emergency landing. In the end, the plane broke into 3 sections. Survivors. It seems like I'm the only one, and I'll search to see if anyone else is alive. The radio station asked again, where's the captain? Is he still alive? Zhang Ming gritted his head and watched the colorful scene in the captain's room, sweating profusely as he flipped open a metal plate with his hand. A foot fell in front of him. The leather shoes fell off, revealing black socks covered in blood stains. From the style of the uniform, it should be the crew members. The captain hung up. I don't know how he survived such a serious disaster himself. Anyway, he's still alive. Don't turn your head again, look into the distance. There is a golden sun suspended in the azure sky, rippling like sunlight on the sea surface, emitting bursts of golden light. Rows of big waves keep surging towards the shore. There are many palm trees and sparse shrubs growing near the beach. Zhang Ming was stunned for a few seconds, feeling a little dry-mouthed. The captain is gone. His blood has dried up, he said, I haven't found any human habitats, but I saw some tall coconut trees growing on the island, possibly 100 or 200 meters high. These trees are incredibly big. Wait, what's that? A round blue object rolled down from the tree with a thud, rolling towards the direction of the plane. I couldn't help but stiffen my body, hold my breath. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be a coconut. But this green coconut, as big as a water tank, may weigh 300 pounds. What the hell is this? Zhang Ming is completely bewildered and unable to do anything. Why did I travel so far? Have you arrived at the kingdom of giants? Or has the body shrunk? The other side of the radio station was also a bit confused. Sir, please stabilize your emotions first, take a deep breath, and concentrate. Zhang Ming felt like crying and touched this coconut, which weighed 300 pounds for real. I also hope it's an illusion, preferably a dream. Hammered twice with his fist, it was tough. The voice on the radio became serious and said in a very formal tone, Mr. Zhang, according to the satellite signal we received, your current position is 10.33 degrees south latitude and 140.45 degrees west longitude. In theory, it is an ocean and there are no large islands. I need to tell you something now. Today, there have been thousands of earthquakes of all sizes around the world, including 52 earthquakes with a magnitude of 7 or above, 6 earthquakes with a magnitude of 8 or above, and 1 earthquake with a magnitude of 9. Our country has also been hit by some small and medium-sized earthquakes. Due to frequent tsunamis, flights and ships have been completely terminated. Zhang Ming swallowed his saliva and felt a faint sensation in his heart. Radio. I hope you can go to higher terrain as soon as possible to avoid possible tsunamis. Before the disaster subsides, it will be difficult for us to dispatch enough manpower to rescue you, so you may have to live on this island for a while. The checked baggage of the plane is located in the lower cargo hold, where there may be some supplies. You need to collect survival resources as soon as possible. Don't do this. The other person's meaning is: you want to be a bay who actively strives for survival, eats a worm and can bounce around for 3 days, searching for human gathering places, or do you want to be a hardworking and starving die for 3 days? Anyway, let's choose between the two. You're going to survive on a deserted island for a while. Zhang Ming remained silent for a few minutes. He really wants to shout out, "Please save me home." But the other party keeps saying, "I'm sorry," and this kind of thing cannot be decided by an operator. A large number of planes and ships around the world have been lost, and you are the only contact we have here. If rescue can be dispatched, we will do it as soon as possible, but obviously. Are you saying that my luck is good? Alright. Zhang Ming was somewhat angry but also quite helpless. Venting emotions has no meaning, it only affects the speed of drawing the knife. He remained silent, twisting and turning towards the direction of the cabin. If I come back alive, how much can the insurance company accompany me? The other party was taken aback for a moment and explained, currently, insurance companies can claim up to 3 million yuan for domestic aviation accident insurance, and airlines can compensate up to 400,000 yuan for victims of plane accidents. For someone like you who hasn't died yet, it's not a problem to compensate 1 or 2 million yuan. We will compensate your loved ones as soon as possible. So the living compensate less than the dead. Zhang Ming bravely crawled into the cabin, searching for survivors in an unpleasant environment. It's always good to have more people alive. But the living person was not found, only a box of unsold Evian mineral water and a few bottles of drinks filled with red liquid were found on the dining car. "A box of mineral water from hell," said Zhang Ming with a desperate expression on his face, wanting to cry without tears. 5 bottles of Coca-Cola, Sprite, orange juice from Huangquan, as well as snacks such as bread and cookies. There isn't much food because the passengers have already had their meals. Damn airlines cannot carry too much food in order to save transportation costs. Go to the aircraft cargo hold again. There was a huge opening here, and packages of all sizes were scattered haphazardly on the ground. Zhang Ming pulled out several suitcases, regardless of what was inside, and ran towards the higher ground. Memories of various documentaries about survival in the wilderness are in my mind. Hungry Da lived on a deserted island for 60 days, but the specific details are hard to remember. I only remember that this guy ended up eating a fat roasted lamb. God knows if that's a prop sheep. As for Mr. Bay, he may choose to cross the ocean with his body after running back and forth for dozens of times. It took more than 6 hours to finally move the goods in the warehouse. Zhang Ming returned to the vicinity of the radio station exhausted, feeling his hands and feet tingling and his clothes soaked with sweat. At this point, I realized that my thighs and coccyx were experiencing abnormal pain. Perhaps due to significant physical exhaustion, the overall mental state of the person suddenly deteriorated, and every muscle in the buttocks, thighs, calves, and chest was tingling. As the sun sets, the waves are surging upwards, landing on the last few metal plates that have been swallowed up by the tide. Zhang Ming swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said, "Can I dismantle this radio station? If it continues like this place will be submerged by the tide. If the communication station gets into the water, it will break down, and we won't be able to contact you then." The staff across from the radio station sighed and said, Without enough tools, it's difficult for you to dismantle this radio station. Moreover, the radio requires electricity to function, and the current battery won't last long either. Mr. Zhang Ming, our planet is undergoing a drastic change, and now the whole world is in chaos, with many people dying. I just received news that Hawaii has been hit by a tsunami. Turn the volume up to maximum and go ashore first. A tsunami could arrive at any time. By the way, if you have a radio, you can try listening to satellite broadcasts. You can look in the luggage of those passengers and see if there is a radio. Zhang Ming was like a deflated balloon, making the final sound. Tell my parents, tell them I am still alive. My parents' phone number is their home address. You can definitely find it. No problem. Aviation insurance will definitely compensate your parents. After receiving the other party's promise, Zhang Ming walked back to the shore with a bewildered expression on his face. The sun is about to set, and a blazing fireball hangs on the horizon, dyeing the surrounding clouds a crimson hue. Even the distant sea is red, like a pool of blood. This is an open and high slope, with tall coconut trees blocking the sky and sun. A few coconut trees fell to the ground, like huge water tanks, making people feel even more stressed. Nervousness and unease surged in my heart. My stomach is growling with hunger. But the food on hand is scarce, and I am reluctant to take a bite. As for whether there is food in those unopened suitcases, it is still unknown, so even if there is, it is unlikely to be too much. Zhang Ming felt that he was too difficult, and without warning, he began to survive in the wilderness. And the whole earth is starting to erupt in disasters, and yesterday I was still dreaming of going to Hawaii to see my little sister. Today, all those little sisters were submerged by the tsunami, even falling into an unknown and mysterious world. Everything brought him an unreal feeling. Suddenly, Zhang Ming felt a bright light flash in his mind. A strange panel appeared in my mind. Stamina. 15/21, you are hungry and tired, but you can actually jump. Perception. 19/20, your perception ability is normal. Spirit. 9/20, you are about to have a mental breakdown. Life expectancy. 24/88, it's great to be young. General attribute. 149, the dish cannot be eaten again. Zhang Ming blinked his eyes to confirm that he was not mistaken. He, who is familiar with online novels, felt a palpitations in his heart. Is this my golden finger? I seem to be able to survive. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Mirage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Mirage. Earth. Terrifying earthquakes and tsunamis are erupting one after another around the world, and a large amount of rescue work is making people anxious. Just 6 hours after the disaster broke out, the official established a special disaster response department. In a large room of about 50 people are focused on researching materials, and a large amount of information is summarized on the central screen. We are still doing well here, but we cannot rule out the possibility of the disaster further expanding and affecting more areas. What is the cause of an earthquake? Perhaps it's plate tectonics, or it could be some kind of change occurring deep in the Earth's core. The saying, "Earth farts, humanity burps," is not a lie. Looking at the information at hand, everyone in the room is frowning and worried. The minister of the special department, named Li Xianfeng, coughed lightly after answering a phone call and said, "Everyone, please be quiet. Leaving aside other matters for now, our current main task is to rescue citizens trapped in mysterious areas. I just received a call that at least one Chinese citizen has been stranded on a deserted island in the mysterious Pacific region and has made brief contact with satellite phones." "Is it a mysterious area in the Pacific?" said a 30-year-old man wearing glasses around him. "This is not easy to rescue. The tsunami in the Pacific is huge, and even aircraft carriers cannot pass through. How can we rescue them? How long can he survive alone? He's not an expert in wilderness survival." Li Xianfeng sighed and said, "You're right. No matter from which perspective, our rescue operation is very difficult. But we have to do something, even using satellites in the sky to send some broadcasts is still good." Mysterious area, a brand new geographical concept. Since the moment the earthquake occurred, artificial satellites in the universe have captured fog of various sizes in the Pacific, Arctic, Indian, and Atlantic Oceans. A considerable number of planes and ships were trapped in the fog and lost contact. Only a small number of survivors from the marginal areas have escaped. However, satellite radio waves are difficult to penetrate these mists, resulting in little understanding of the mysterious areas. Even more strangely, according to the few words revealed by the survivors, it turned out to be a sunny day inside, completely different from the so-called satellite fog. It seems like two worlds. At this moment, the ringing of the phone rang again. Li Xianfeng answered halfway, his pupils slightly enlarged. Something big happened. Follow me out. The group hurriedly ran out of the room, staring blankly at the western sky. At this moment, it is evening. The setting sun is shining obliquely. The leaves under the wudong tree are withering. The light and shadow are mottled, interweaving the sense of the passage of time. But at this moment, no one appreciates the scenery, instead, they keep staring at the sky. The clouds above the sky actually outlined a blurry scene, as if someone or a boat were passing through the clouds under the light wind and mist. A mirage. It's indeed a mirage. The dark red sky is like a divided projection screen, with multiple strange scenes appearing at the same time. An Arctic iceberg exploration team, an Atlantic oil tanker, survivors of a deserted island in the Pacific, a luxury cruise group, and trapped fishing boats scattered together, there are a total of 16 scenes of various sizes. From one of the images, Li Xianfeng discovered the wreckage of the plane that had broken into several pieces, as well as a bewildered trapped person. That's. My mind buzzed with thoughts. Mirage. Mysterious area. Trapped. Why did a mirage appear in the sky? No, not only Zhang Ming, but also the other survivors appeared in the mirage. Streets were blocked by cars and filled with water, with faint vibrations on the ground. Although the magnitude of the earthquake in Yunhai City was not significant, it still made people feel uneasy. Who knows if the tofu residue project will suddenly collapse? A series of large scale escapes are taking place in this mega city. Didi. Bang bang. Bang bang. What kind of idiot is playing with his phone while driving? He hit a car in front and ended up blocking the road. A chubby driver rolled down the car window, lit a cigarette, and angrily honked his horn a few times. Due to the large number of cars, the speed of the traffic wriggling is not as fast as people walking. My wife sat in the back seat and played with her 3-year-old daughter, saying, "Don't use dirty language in front of your daughter. Baba, don't use foul language." Hey, hee, Dad is criticizing them for not playing with their phones while driving. Fat driver Wang Fumin couldn't help but laugh and changed the topic. Earthquake disaster announcement. At 16.45 on December 28, a 4.2 magnitude earthquake occurred in the **** area, latitude ****, longitude **** east, with a depth of 35 kilometers. Urgent notice. Please go to the nearest shelter for shelter and do not drive on the elevated road to avoid the risk of collapse. There are currently congested roads. There are traffic jams everywhere. When can we drive back to our hometown? Wang Fumin tapped the steering wheel with a headache. Suddenly, my daughter shouted into the sky, "There's a movie playing in the sky, and a big plane has fallen. There are also big ships sailing in the sky." Wang Fumin took a puff of cigarette and puffed out the fog. He thought his daughter was watching the cartoon. "Hey, boss, how much is a box of fried rice?" 70 yuan per box. Due to the congested road, the queue stretched for dozens of kilometers, with some skilled street vendors passing through and selling food. It's better to rob this profiteering business, he said in his heart, but his daughter and wife had to eat anyway and waved, 2 fried rice, and more rice. Okay. Baba, the people in the sky are spitting fire, the daughter exclaimed excitedly. Mirage. That's a mirage. More and more people are discovering anomalies in the sky, and the voices of discussion are becoming louder and louder. Even the food vendors are attracted, selling boxed meals while taking out their phones to capture the sky scenery. Wang Fumin couldn't help but turn his head and look towards the west direction. The mirages, like a movie, played out strange scenes one after another. Really? Someone is spitting fire. There are still people with suspended bodies. What's going on? Superpowers. Even though the world is being hit by earthquakes and natural and man-made disasters continue, the nature of the internet is curiosity. What is the internet without new topics? This mysterious phenomenon is spreading rapidly, with an exponential growth rate, attracting global attention. A large number of netizens excitedly let out chicken crows, discussing the reason behind it. The spiritual energy has revived. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. A new era. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. A new era, yes. One of the scenes in the Mirage has a high probability that we are responsible for it, trapped person Zhang Ming. The rest of the people are difficult to distinguish, they may be survivors from different regions. People from all over the world are trapped in mysterious areas. Comrade Li Xianfeng from the Special Affairs Department, upon receiving an important phone call, hurriedly went to a special room to attend a video conference. A high-definition image of a mirage in the sky was played on the big screen. Every detail and every frame is recorded clearly. 16 scenes of mirages, originating from the 4 major mysterious areas, with approximately 4,365 humans trapped inside. The most crowded scene among them is a large luxury cruise ship in the Atlantic region, with about 3,000 passengers. This luxury cruise ship has lost contact with satellite signals, and for some reason, it appears in a mirage. The scene with the fewest number of people is a plane passenger trapped on a deserted island because there was only one survivor in the plane crash. The refracted image is very bizarre, with coconuts as big as water tanks and trees as high as 100 meters. Li Xianfeng reported on the known situation during the video conference. This person should be survivor Zhang Ming. We estimate that there is some delay in the scene in the mirage and it is not played in real time. What happened in this world? Global earthquakes have caused governments around the world to be extremely anxious, and inexplicable world wonders such as mysterious areas and mirages have emerged, raising countless doubts in people's hearts. The military is searching for information about aliens and is at a loss so far. As for whether the United States on the other side of the ocean is at fault, it can only be said that the American people do not have such technological strength. Unless the other party suddenly obtains the high-tech capabilities of the Zenith Star Man, they can create large-scale earthquakes and mirages. Moreover, it is evident that the other side of the Pacific has also been hit by earthquakes, and the Americans cannot attack themselves crazily. As for the claims of the Jade Emperor, God, and so on. Is there really a little possibility? Another expert stood up and explained, the scenes in the sky are indeed mirages. As long as the density and humidity of the air are changed, these scenes can be destroyed. But these mirages appear simultaneously in multiple regions around the world, and the significance of destroying only one region is not significant. There may be tens of millions or even billions of people who have seen this scene, and there has been a lot of discussion online about what it is. The spiritual energy has revived. Li Xianfeng looked at the big screen. There are naturally some people from Xia who are trapped in the mysterious area. On that cruise ship, out of over 3,000 passengers, there are dozens of summer tourists. And he was mainly responsible for the survivor of the deserted island, Zhang Ming, who was crying and laughing in front of the sky, with a face full of ecstasy. Li Xianfeng felt a thump in his heart and had an idea. Isn't it crazy? What should I do if I go crazy? The probability of a direct mental breakdown in the face of a great disaster is not small. Only one person died in a plane and faced a mysterious island. No matter how you look at it, you feel that the situation of this island survivor is also too difficult. In another scene, surprisingly, someone was spewing fire and their flesh was suspended in the air. Some people suddenly become incredibly powerful, jumping to a height of over 10 meters, far exceeding the range of normal humans. Super ability. Did these people develop superpowers? Li Xianfeng frowned and thought to himself. Another person asked, how should public opinion address this issue? If these images are real, what does it mean? An old man slowly said, since there are too many people who know and cannot cover up the scenes in the sky, public opinion should not guide too much. Instead of putting in too much effort to do thankless things, it is better to allocate enough manpower to rescue the affected people in the earthquake zone and ensure the flow of information and logistics. Especially food, be sure to fully guarantee it. Strictly crack down on hoarding and other behaviors. He paused for a moment and said, superpowers. As for the Mirage scene, if it really exists, it may mean a new era is coming. As night fell, the Mirage lasted for over half an hour before finally disappearing. But for a planet, there is always a place like dusk. So, these magical mirages reappeared elsewhere. There has long been a stir on the internet, and self-media outlets are afraid that the world will spread their wild speculations without chaos. Global earthquake, Hawaii Island submerged by tsunami shocked, mysterious mirage spreads across the world. It must be a conspiracy of the American people. The Mayan prophecy believed that the end of the world had arrived, and today is the first day of the end of the world. Aliens using GZ to destroy Earth. The Earth has fallen from the 3D world to the 2D space. We are the world in the novel. Someone commented, come on, it's the end of the world every year. However, today's earthquakes are really widespread, even in cities outside the earthquake zone. Our whole family is sleeping in tents in the yard, afraid that the house will suddenly collapse. The seismic reinforcement of the house is discounted by 1,000 yuan per square meter. Is your reinforcement real? I just want to ask a question, do you still need to pay off the mortgage when the building collapses? Go to the city shelter and stay. The so-called urban shelters are mostly public outdoor places such as playgrounds, sports fields, and parks. The governments of various cities have built some simple iron houses, makeshift shelters, or even outdoor tents, providing food on a regular basis to prevent disaster victims from starving to death. About half an hour later, an important news report titled Investigation Report on Mirages and Global Earthquakes was released on various portal websites, casting blame on the so-called mysterious areas of the emergence of earthquakes and mirages. Anyway, the significant impact of earthquakes should provide a reason for the public. As for whether the scenes in the Mirage are true or false, what exactly is going on? The report has a vague attitude and did not say too much. The report concludes by calling for a focus on the present. The stock and real estate markets have collapsed, the world economy is paralyzed, and the global landscape will be reshaped. It is necessary to unleash human subjective initiative in order to fight the future in the face of great changes for thousands of years. Of course, most people don't pay much attention to things that are too far-sighted. Many people are willing to donate, billionaires are throwing money, and civilian heroes are pushing tricycles and motorcycles to transport supplies. Some people entertain themselves to death, seeing someone trapped in a mysterious area as a carnival entertainment. Moreover, the emergence of superpowers has made netizens ecstatic. 1/10. In the mysterious area, 1/10 of people have given birth to superpowers. P.S. Starting tomorrow, update on time at 8 p.m. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Attribute conversion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Attribute Conversion. Zhang Ming naturally didn't know that a mirage was broadcasting his every move. He is excitedly studying his golden finger. Stamina 15/21, the number 15 in front should be the current amount. The latter 21 is the theoretical upper limit that can be reached when fully rested. As for the spirit, 9/20, it is easier to understand. His current mental state is indeed terrible, with the pressure of unfamiliar environments, worries about the future, hidden dangers in life, and various troubles almost overwhelming his inner self. But now the spirit value has increased to 10 points. The spirit value has increased to 11 points. This value has been rising all the way up to 18 o'clock before stopping the upward trend. Spirit. 18/20, you suddenly feel extremely happy, laughing like a fool. Zhang Ming was stunned for a moment, unsure whether to laugh or cry. He understood why his mental value would increase significantly. Suddenly, I got a golden finger. It's strange that there aren't many limit-ups. But that damn God left him in this haunted place, allowing him to live a life without a meal. He has parents and a high school sister, still an old virgin, unable to complete the human plan of reproducing offspring. This week's crazy Thursday hasn't happened yet. I did a good job this year, and the boss promised a salary increase. If only I didn't travel to Hawaii, I could use this golden finger to reach the pinnacle of life. Zhang Ming had a stinky face and felt that he was too difficult. Damn it, God made a joke on him that he couldn't laugh at. Wait, your mental health has decreased by 17 points. It's dropped to 16.00. Spirit. 16/20, you suddenly feel dissatisfied with your current life and feel a bit discouraged. Zhang Ming quickly stopped his wild thoughts and took a few deep breaths. Think for a moment. The purpose of the property panel is very simple. The first is to add points, through which one can become stronger. As for the source of attribute points, I just don't know. There's no explanation. Maybe you can get attribute points by doing 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats and stands, and running 10 kilometers every day. The second function is attribute transfer. There are a total of 4 attributes on the panel, namely, physical, perception, spirit, and lifespan, which can be reassigned at any time. This is quite a powerful ability. Zhang Ming remembered a hero named Water Man in the Tower of Knives, whose agility and strength attributes could be converted into each other. Now I have also become a Water Man and can switch between 4 attributes. The only attribute that can be significantly reduced at present should be lifespan. The lifespan of up to 88 should only be on a theoretical level. It doesn't matter if you crash the plane in the next second or get carried away by a monster, you can live for up to 88 years at most, and then hiccup due to various accidents. After a moment of contemplation, I deducted 30 points from my lifespan and transferred it to my stamina. A strong enough physique is the foundation of survival. Transferred 10 points of lifespan to spirit again. Struggling to survive in this uninhabited place, even with a golden finger, Zhang Ming was worried about his psychological breakdown. Finally, 10 points of perception were allocated to improve hearing and vision. Now the lifespan has become 24/38, with only 14 years to live, so I dare not allocate it randomly. Although it can be squeezed to 24/25, under extreme conditions, 1E suffered a serious illness and lost some of his lifespan, wouldn't he die suddenly? After the distribution was completed, a faint heat burst from his heart, penetrating every inch of his muscles. This feeling was mysterious, as if a magma was crawling back and forth in his muscles and blood vessels. I estimated that it takes about 10 seconds to convert one attribute, not an instant conversion. 500 seconds later, stamina. 40/51, you converted your attributes and became a bit more powerful. Perception. 29/30, it's still considered normal now. Spirit. 26/30, you are mixed, very surprised, very hungry. Life expectancy. 24/38, you have become a short-lived ghost. Total attribute. 149, you sacrificed your lifespan through some kind of evil way, making yourself less useless. Zhang Ming clenched his fist, feeling his light and agile body. An unprecedented sense of strength surged in his heart, and he lightly jumped. If there were basketball, perhaps the height of the jump could easily dunk a basket. Then, intense hunger surged into my heart. I was too hungry, as if I had been hungry for 3 days and 3 nights. Zhang Ming was dizzy and felt like he could eat a cow. He took out a bag of snacks he had just collected and thought sadly, but the food I have on hand is only snail level. Especially, he just took a sip of coconut water that had finally drilled a hole. And immediately vomited. There is a hot and tingling sensation in the mouth, which may be due to an allergic reaction, or it may be that coconuts are poisonous. He cannot eat these coconuts, otherwise he will die. Special Affairs Processing Department. Li Xianfeng sat in the office, studying the mysterious mirage that had just appeared. Even with just half an hour of footage, a considerable amount of information can be analyzed. All mirages only play scenes of survivors during the day, unable to see activities at night. I don't know if this young man can pass the first night safely. Li Xianfeng sighed lightly. Ding ling ling, the phone rang. A voice came over the phone. Captain, Zhang Ming's parents have been found and their emotions are relatively stable. The compensation for aviation insurance is currently being declared, and it is estimated that it will come down in the next few days. Li Xianfeng nodded. Since the disaster had already occurred, whether this person was alive or dead, it was always right to pay the money first. Well, let them keep it a secret and not promote the fact that their family is trapped in a mysterious area. We should also appeal to our emotions and reason, and let them know that it is difficult for us to carry out rescue work here. If there is any possibility, we will send candidates to save people. His parents are quite reasonable, so there should be no problem, said the voice over the phone. The Superior's declaration has been issued, allowing us to use broadcasting satellites to spread signals in various mysterious areas. We will be allocated 1.2 hours a day. What kind of content needs to be played in satellite broadcasting? Li Xianfeng remained silent for a moment, then discussed with colleagues in the office for a while. In addition to the solitary island survivor Zhang Ming, there are also some Chinese or ethnic Chinese in other scenes who require more information. What kind of content will be played? Compassion from family and friends. A constant stream of encouragement. Of course not. We must let these people know that they are facing a harsh environment and it is difficult for the outside world to rescue them properly. They must save themselves. They must find a way to survive for a longer time. Let them understand the common sense of survival in the wild and the changes in the entire world. Li Xianfeng said, the key to survival is to give them enough knowledge, maintain a good mentality, and have a strong fighting spirit. I will be responsible for broadcasting content in this area. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. The Most Excellent Race. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The Most Excellent Race. The assistant across the phone said, Minister, there's one more thing. For the emergence of mirages, domestic public opinion is relatively good, and people generally focus on fighting against earthquake disasters, at most discussing them as curiosity. But the public opinion outside the wall is very negative, mixing some religious apocalyptic and racial statements. Now it has faintly become a racist frenzy. Li Xianfeng sighed slightly and said, do our own thing well. We cannot control foreign public opinion either. It has always been like this, and this is not the first time. The world is made up of matter, and even a few words won't shed a piece of flesh. With the continuous rise of the Great Xia Kingdom, the attitude of the Western world has become increasingly hostile. The occurrence of this global earthquake not only did not alleviate the negative attitude, but also showed an increasingly severe trend. The reason is simple. With the emergence of several mysterious areas and frequent tsunamis on the ocean, the risks of sea transportation are simply too exaggerated. Without the cheapest logistics method of ocean transportation, the collapse of the global industrial chain can be said to be a definite thing. At this point, Dacia, which has the most complete industrial chain, naturally has great advantages. On the other hand, with the increase of marine risks, land rights may rise again and sea rights may decline. The Eurasian continent and the African continent have the widest territories and populations, while the other few continents suspended overseas can only play isolationism behind closed doors. In this situation, the superpower with over 300 overseas bases is not in a hurry. In this world of comparison, as long as others are inferior to oneself, then oneself is the best. As for earthquakes that continue to expand and cause disasters, as long as one day doesn't affect oneself, then what does one day have to do with me? From a certain perspective, human civilization can be described as a true portrayal of Darwinian society in the jungle. The mysterious zone, a world that exists in supernatural phenomena. Although I don't know why there are mirages about the mysterious zone, I am certain that these scenes are real. Peter Greer, a professor of psychology at Harvard University, posted a message on Bluebird and took a series of photos from a mirage, using AI technology for high-definition reproduction. The coconut, which is the size of a water tank, is actually the most ordinary existence among them. One of the photos, magnified 100 times, surprisingly revealed a mysterious flying object in the sky, with leather wings, sharp claws, and crimson eyes, resembling a large bat. Peter Greer wrote, according to mathematical calculations, the body length of this bat may be 10 meters. Only pterosaurs that appeared during the dinosaur era have reached such a volume. The weight of pterosaurs is approximately 250 kilograms, and I estimate that this bat's weight is also the same. Its sharp fangs can easily kill an adult. Another photo shows a boat of fishermen landing on an island. Professor Peter enlarged the photo and took a corner. Look here, the plants on the island are slowly wriggling. Judging from their appearance, they may be terrifying cannibalistic plants. Fortunately, some of the humans trapped in the mysterious zone may have given birth to superpowers, and they may have the ability to solve their current troubles. Someone below posted a comment saying, "Professor, why does a mirage appear? Why does a mysterious area appear?" Professor Peter replied, "I don't have any evidence or any news at the moment, but personally, I believe that the end has arrived, but it hasn't really arrived yet. God has thrown a small number of people into a mysterious area and created a mirage, in order to bring inspiration to the world and enable us to survive in the true end of the world. These scenes are like movie-like mirages, just to bring us inspiration. Only true death can awaken the world and let us know the cruelty of the future. Therefore, among these over 4,000 people, it is difficult for anyone to truly survive." Professor Peter Greer kept talking endlessly. If this conjecture is true, the mirage should still appear around the world tomorrow, and there will definitely be even more exciting scenes. Perhaps someone will die in despair. Bluebird CEO and the world's richest man, Nyuk, liked this tweet and commented, "Superpowers, survival through death, humanity in dire straits. God is as cruel as ever. It's time for humanity to unite, but this is just a luxury, isn't it? The only thing we can confirm is that in disasters, humans cannot unite and will only die in division." Next, netizens began to spread this tweet like crazy, with enough gimmicks brought by survival through death, doomsday theory, and superpowers, attracting the attention of countless people. Even those who survived the earthquake picked up their phones and gave crazy likes. In this era of entertainment until death, as long as one is not dead, people have to play with their phones. Playing with mobile phones is the primary driving force for world peace. Quickly, Professor Peter Greer's Bluebird tweet received over 100 million likes, surpassing the Machio King World Cup Championship tweet with an unparalleled trend and becoming the world's #1 like. And super psychology Professor Peter Greer receives over 10 million followers a day. But in the frenzy of public opinion, the argument began to slowly distort, and various comparisons quickly became rampant. God is actually selecting the best race. I, a man from the Day tribe, possess invisibility skills and truly deserve to be the most outstanding ethnic group in the world. My friend, take a look at that human body floating in the sky. He is a Brahmin baptized by the Ganges River and will definitely live to the end. Wake up, my friend. The person you mentioned has already immigrated to the United States. He secretly told me that Ganges River, cow urine, and cow dung cake are a beautiful combination. Is there a genetic mutation in that person who can breathe fire? How did superpowers appear? This is very confusing. Some people's attention is also focused on the survivors of the deserted island, while the other scenes are a team of multiple people, except for this man with yellow skin and black hair, who exists alone. A large number of banana people were in a strange mood. He doesn't seem to have given birth to superpowers, he should be the first to die, and he may not see the sun of tomorrow. After all, it's a race that doesn't believe in God. Why does God favor them? I see him in despair and he will go crazy soon. Of course, there are also some people standing outside the wall and saying, you don't think that someone like you who moistens out will be favored by God, right? If you are thrown into a mysterious area, you will die first. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. The first night you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. The first night the waves are getting bigger and bigger. The radio station on the beach is broadcasting news intermittently, and due to a significant improvement in perception ability, Zhang Ming can barely hear the sound of distant radio stations. Fusang Province was hit by a magnitude 8 earthquake. Mount Fuji has returned to its active phase, and experts expect a volcanic eruption within a month, causing tens of millions of people to flee outside the city, resulting in traffic paralysis and a catastrophic traffic accident that resulted in 202 deaths. The massive tsunami hit the Hawaiian region, causing billions of dollars in property damage due to a deadly tsunami. The number of evacuees by the authorities has doubled. For mysterious regions have emerged in the Pacific, Atlantic, Arctic, and Indian Oceans, shrouded in fog and experiencing unknown anomalies. Zhang Ming is enjoying a bag of potato chips with relish, and it is unknown which Taoist friend left behind a precious legacy. Take it piece by piece and enjoy it slowly, even licking the salt on your fingers. Oh, Mount Fuji is about to erupt. Half eaten, but even more hungry. Picking up another small bread and nibbling on it. After enjoying the bread, the frenzy of hunger finally subsided. Throw it away. How could I suddenly be so good at eating? Take advantage of the last remaining sunlight to build a shelter. He pushed several huge coconuts that had fallen to the ground together, forming a circle, and then picked up several palm leaves that were over 2 meters long and covered them on the coconuts. Finally, a layer of clothes was laid on the ground. Experts claim that frequent activity of crustal plates is the main cause of current earthquakes. The total global GDP may decrease by about 40% due to disasters. Zhang Ming spat out a sentence. Why did this suddenly happen? The experience of this day is even more outrageous than time travel. He seemed to remember something, habitually taking out his phone from his pocket and turning it on. When he opened it, the battery level was 19%, a desperate number. And there's no internet. At this moment, the only thought in my mind is, damn it, the 648 krypton from Genmo yesterday has not yet been drawn. Damn it. A tropical depression east of the Philippine ice has formed this morning. At 8.00, its center is located on the northwest Pacific Ocean, 445 kilometers east of Manila, at 14.1 degrees north latitude and 125.1 degrees east longitude, with a magnitude of 7.14 meters/second, and 1003 HPA. It is expected that the low-pressure system will move at a speed of 10.15 kilometers per hour in the northeast direction of the Philippine ice, gradually strengthening and forming a super typhoon. Zhang Ming hid in a pile of coconuts, listening to the radio. Various earthquakes, typhoons, tsunamis, and volcanoes have all come up, as if they are about to plow the entire world fiercely. He became increasingly worried about his family and friends. However, the current situation is delicate and can only prioritize taking care of oneself. Anyway, Dacia is a world power with vast inland areas to avoid disasters. Shouldn't it be a big problem? Water, fire, food, shelter, the four elements of survival. There are about 20 bottles of water and cola, so save some and stick to it for about a week. There are quite a few coconuts around. But eating coconut may cause diarrhea, and in the absence of rescue, illness may mean death. Moreover, Zhang Ming is not sure if these coconuts, which are the same size as water tanks, are poisonous. Even if his physique is 2.5 times that of an ordinary person, he dare not take too much risk. Food is equally scarce, even more so than water. Zhang Ming felt that he did not have the hunger talent of Dai, who starved 9 times in 3 days. Especially after raising his physical fitness to 51 points and building a temporary shelter, hunger was constantly eroding his rationality. The just-eaten bread and half a packet of potato chips were just a drop in the bucket, but instead stimulated his appetite. After counting for a while, the bread, biscuits, and other food I have now only persisted for 2 days, and I am still in a state of not being full. Rubbing his temples and suppressing his wild desire to eat, Zhang Ming took long, deep breaths. Of course, the good news is that there are still over 100 blind boxes left. Those suitcases that haven't been opened. Even if most suitcases are clothes, why do we still need some food and water? Time passed by minute by second, and the sky was completely dark. A full moon hung high above, and the stars shone brightly like waterfalls. In this area without light pollution, the vast Milky Way looked like a human painting. On the first night staying here, Zhang Ming couldn't sleep at all. His rationality was constantly struggling with hunger. Suddenly, a rumbling sound came from afar, accompanied by a piercing metallic tear. Zhang Ming suddenly woke up from a confused state. Radio. Asterisk noise, sir, what was the sound just now? Asterisk noise, did the tide come up? Are you nearby? Has an earthquake occurred on your end? In a fart. There was another loud creak, which was even more piercing than the previous one. It's as if the cover of the entire cabin was forcefully lifted open. Zhang Ming widened his eyes in shock, trying to see where the wreckage was and what exactly happened. A black shadow. Yes, under the moonlight, a black life form is frantically searching for human corpses in the cabin. It has a huge body size, possibly several tens of meters high, like a Godzilla, forcefully lifting the metal layer of the wreckage of the plane and emitting a joyful chew in its mouth. In a moment of effort, it formed a grand feast and carnival. Occasionally, there is a dull sound like playing a drum, which should be its breathing. Zhang Ming was sweating profusely, with goosebumps all over his body, and he could smell a putrid odor resembling a corpse. The stench is getting stronger and stronger, polluting the entire area like a gas bomb. I quickly picked up some mineral water with a towel and covered my mouth and nose. The radio station also felt something was wrong and said nervously and seriously, "Sir, I just received a major news. Some unprecedented life forms have appeared in the mysterious area. They have infinite power and a ferocious appearance, completely different from normal creatures. Some are plants, while others are animals. Their body length is generally around 3 meters, with the largest being about 5 meters. Zhang Ming is done, bro. Are those babies you encountered? I may be several tens of meters here. They hold great malice towards humans. You must dodge them, dodge them. Don't die. Also, satellite radio will play around 6 p.m., radio." With a loud bang, the radio station was smashed by the black life form's punch, and the announcer's voice completely disappeared. Zhang Ming hid in a pile of coconuts, both shocked and afraid, wanting to cry without tears, cursing the black shadow ancestral 18 generations in his heart. You're just a person, I really can't do anything about it. But don't ruin my radio, it's the only way I can connect with humans. When I wake up later, I will definitely kill you. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Search for supplies. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Search for supplies. Sunny and sunny day. The tide receded, revealing a golden beach. On their first night on the deserted island, they managed to pass without any danger. The monsters ate the corpses in the cabin and roared towards the center of the island. But Zhang Ming was in a bad mood, wearing 2 big black circles under his eyes. In order to prepare for the possible battle, he accidentally ate a lot of food last night to replenish his physical strength. In short, he is running out of food to eat. That guy lives in the center of the island. Returning to the beach, the wreckage of the plane was dismantled in disarray, and the originally colorful scene of hell was completely gone. Every drop of human flesh and blood is licked by that unknown creature. On the hard metal plate, there was a foul smell that could be faintly smelled even after being washed away by the tide all night. Fortunately, this odor was not toxic, otherwise he would have been knocked to the ground by the poison last night. Zhang Ming arrived at the radio station and adjusted it for a while. Unfortunately, the miracle did not happen. The radio station was beaten into a pancake. Spirit value point 2, after searching for a while, I found a women's backpack left on the cabin luggage rack. Let's have some food, please. Upon opening it, there was a thick stack of beautiful knives, some cosmetics, a mirror, and a women's watch, which looked quite exquisite. Counted it, my goodness, it's a full $50,000. Equivalent to 350,000 renminbi. But Zhang Ming was not at all happy, instead feeling that everything was tasteless and tasteless. After searching for half a day, no food, no. Once at the airport, a sincere beef fried rice was placed in front of me, and the price was 68. I hesitated and rejected it because it was too expensive. At this moment, even for $50,000, you can't buy a single cow's hair. Zhang Ming sobbed for a moment and suddenly realized that he had realized. He is 24 years old this year, which is the age when he should enjoy the world of flowers. But after the terrifying baptism of survival and death, I finally broke through the mortal world, understood human nature, and reached the true state of unity between heaven and humanity, heading to the other side of the starry sky. No matter what setbacks or hardships lie ahead, he can face them calmly. So, from now on, please call me Buddha, Lao Zhang. I want to eat coconuts happily on the island. Spirit value point 2, the changes in the attribute panel mercilessly reveal the true thoughts of Buddha Lao Zhang, who is experiencing a mental breakdown. The face of the Buddha seems to have been cruelly trampled under the feet of the attribute panel. So, Buddha Lao Zhang began a crazy psychological massage. When heaven is about to bestow great responsibilities on people, they must first work hard on their minds, strain their muscles and bones, and starve their bodies and skin. Spirit value point 1, what's going on? God of the grass mud horse, damn the universe. Spirit value plus 2, Zhang Ming, I understand. Originally, he was the fighting Saint Buddha who beat up the Jade Emperor. After all, defeating the Buddha is also a Buddha. Earth. A new Mirage has appeared. Countless supernatural enthusiasts stayed up all night and finally waited for the new video to be released online for the first time. The appearance of mirages randomly appears around the world, rather than broadcasting real-time information, often delaying for several hours. These enthusiasts divided the scene into numbers 1.16, and according to the number of people, the luxury cruise ship carrying 3,000 passengers naturally received more attention, known as the Mirage No. 1. As for the island survivors, there is only one person, known as the 16th Mirage. Some psychologically twisted individuals with great malice gloated and said, "Look, the wreckage of this plane belongs to the airline, and these suitcases belong to those who died." Can he take them? He can't. Taking them without informing is stealing, and this character is really disappointing. A large group of people who climbed over the wall ran over to the line, but no matter what, this trapped person was also a young man from the Great Xia Kingdom, and it was their turn to slander these malicious people. Even if the future is not optimistic, why are you so happy? Can this Nima also spray? Damn it, NT. The famous Australian writer was sure what Penn once said, when you get to know them, you will find that any behavior you treat them is not discriminatory because their thoughts are isolated from the world. Seeing that Zhang Ming was still alive, Li Xianfeng also breathed a slight sigh of relief. The plane was indeed dismantled by the monster. A simple tide cannot destroy an airplane like this. They heard some terrifying sounds and learned some unknown information through the radio yesterday. Zhang Ming. His situation is worrying. Another expert said, as far as I know, only we briefly contacted the survivor Zhang Ming of Zone 16 through the radio last night. There was no response from the other trapped individuals in the mysterious zone. Unable to reach other contacts. Yes, the mysterious area of the Pacific may be quite unique, as satellite signals can enter. Numerous experts in the room carefully analyzed the images, including renowned biologists, military experts, information scientists, and other experts from various industries, totaling more than 20 people. The body inside was eaten by a monster. How big is this guy at night? If he appears here, can he handle it? I think we can deal with it. After all, airplanes are not tanks and their armor is not thick. But anyway, it may bring some casualties, said the military expert sitting on the left side. Of course, if these things have superpowers, it's hard to say. Li Xianfeng frowned and listened to everyone's discussion. Zhang Ming's mental state doesn't look very good. He doesn't have any superpowers, does he? It's hard to say. At this point, he can only rely on himself. After a careful search, there really isn't anything particularly good left. Last night's tide washed away most of the supplies, and the biggest gain was an aviation medical first aid kit fixed on the rear luggage rack, which contained many medicines, including antibiotics, medical alcohol, and emergency supplies such as bandages. SR-level supplies. Zhang Ming's eyes lit up and he put them away. I also found 2 nylon ropes, each about 5 meters long, and I don't know why there are ropes on the plane. The broken communication station has no possibility of being repaired. We can only give up strategically. Zhang Ming pondered for a while and believed that the rescue team would not come too early. He may have to live on this terrifying deserted island for a while and it is necessary to build a qualified shelter. So I moved back 2 first-class chairs. With this thing, I can sleep normally without lying on the ground and receiving wet dew. Then large metal plates and a few broken wings were transported to the shore. With a physique of up to 51 points, he can easily move objects weighing 100 or 200 pounds. If placed in human society, he is already a qualified bricklayer. After working for half a day, Zhang Ming found himself hungry again. The scarcity of food has become the biggest challenge at present. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Gifts to Save Lives. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Gifts to Save Lives. After finishing the last half pack of potato chips and suppressing the raging hunger, Zhang Ming shifted his attention to the over 100 unopened, blind boxes. The unopened suitcases. I was just busy moving yesterday and didn't have time to open them one by one. Now, taking advantage of the intense sunlight and the raging mood, it is necessary to hide under the shade of a tree and give a psychological massage. Spirit. 15 of 30, you feel that your life is based on defense. Zhang Ming was shocked. This thing dares to mock itself shamelessly. Aren't you just a part of me? Since my life is a pile of feces, isn't your life with golden fingers a maggot parasitic on feces? Spirit. 14/30, you feel like your life is like a maggot eating feces. Zhang Ming took it, patted his forehead, and gave a 10-minute psychological massage to calm himself down. The joy of opening a blind box is always full of expectations. Faced with a pile of suitcases, Zhang Ming felt his saliva continuously secreting. This reminded him of the scene where he couldn't wait for the lottery after recharging 648. Although most of the time he felt really frustrated and impulsive, could he possibly become a European one day? This is the blind box that determines fate. Trembling fingers, unzip the suitcase. A bag of clothes, all clothes. No use for farting. Another package of clothes, women's, an electric toothbrush, black toothpaste, a few towels, a lot of cosmetics, skii fairy water, I don't understand. Another pair is a bag of clothes and a laptop. Another pair of shoes is a bag of clothes. There's also a lot of money inside, $20,000. Spirit value. Point 1, opening 10 packages of clothes in a row, Zhang Ming felt numb and sweat soaked through his clothes, feeling a bit anxious. I suddenly remembered that in my suitcase, I only had a box of clothes with me. Most of the passengers on the plane are going on vacation to Hawaii. It's impossible for a normal person to carry 50 kilograms of rice on a plane, right? Thinking of this, he dejectedly opened the next suitcase and his eyes lit up. Half a box of clothes, and half a box of math textbooks, postgraduate entrance exam questions, notebooks, ballpoint pens, and some learning tools. These books have obviously been flipped over multiple times, with some lines and records on them, and the text is like chicken feet crawling crookedly. On the title page of Advanced Mathematics, it reads, "Next year, you must take the postgraduate entrance exam and get on board. Keep going." This line of text is exceptionally neat, indicating a very serious attitude towards writing. The next sentence is written in different handwriting. "Fool, hurry up and get ashore." Zhang Ming was stunned for a moment, looking at these textbooks and the handwriting on them. Gradually, an indescribable feeling of depression swept over my heart, intensifying and transforming into a sense of powerlessness in the face of future destiny. So we continued to push forward with all our might, sailing against the current and being constantly pushed back by the current, until we returned to the ancient times, when there was nothing. We are bare-handed, we can only rely on ourselves. It's already great to be alive, murmured Zhang Ming in his heart. I shouldn't ask too much, I shouldn't be impatient. These are all your legacies, the final gift. Spirit value +1, the next suitcase, with clothes for both adults and children, shows a family of 3. The little girl should be around 10 years old, with an infinite future ahead of her. Next, could it be a honeymoon couple? Next, perhaps a middle-aged couple. The disappearing life drifts away like smoke and clouds. When everything returns to dust, it can prove the value of life, which is not as heavy as imagined. Hundreds of years ago, how many people were famous in history, and how many people left their own names? The greatest thing in your life, in history, is just a small and insignificant matter. If you die, then you die. Zhang Ming sighed and solemnly opened the next suitcase. In addition to clothes, there was actually an electric rice cooker inside, about 5 pounds of rice, and a small bag of dirt-like things. He grabbed the bag of rice and was paralyzed on the ground. Tears couldn't help but gush from the eyes. Help me. Some people are easily uncomfortable with their environment and may experience diarrhea and allergies if they change their environment. So when leaving home, a small bag of rice and some hometown soil will be packed in the suitcase. When I miss my hometown, I can catch a handful of porridge to postpone my homesickness. The survival crisis has eased, 5 pounds of rice, can you eat it for several days? As for the rice cooker, although there is no electricity here, the inner container of the rice cooker can be used, which is like a ready-made pot. Thank you for being a brother and sisters in the next life. Zhang Ming was grateful. Spirit value +2, next blind box. Luck has come, surprisingly, it has been continuously shipped. 2 black ham from Jinhua area, 2. It may add up to 20 pounds of ham. This gentleman or lady must want to give someone ham as a gift, right? Does Hawaii have his family and friends? While Zhang Ming was delighted, he couldn't help but recall his aunt. My aunt likes to give away some local specialties, especially pickled products such as ham and cured meat, during New Year's greetings. Even though these local specialties are not very delicious, the whole family only consumed 1 ham after eating for a year, but before the Chinese New Year, she brought new ones. However, it has been 2 years since my aunt's departure. In the past 2 years, Zhang Ming has never eaten ham again. Unexpectedly, on this uninhabited deserted island, he received a precious gift that could save his life. Thank you very much. Earth. As time passed, mirages appeared one after another in various mysterious areas. In theory, there are significant differences in time zones between the Pacific, Arctic, Indian, and Atlantic Oceans, but the time difference in mirages seems to be consistent. So, most people's focus shifted from Zhangming to the citizens of their own country. The form of each team is not wonderful. The problem of resource scarcity is right in front of us, and even though the major ships in the mysterious area have been in contact for a whole night, they cannot reach the human base. Being in the vast ocean, without satellite signals, without traces of civilization, without birds, without anything. Even this vast sea is deep and terrifying, with a blue to black color and almost zero fluctuations in the waves, like a silent mirror that spreads to the endless end of the world. Some teams were lucky enough to find the island, but the plants and animals on the island were diverse and completely different from the creatures on Earth, and even monsters appeared. The enormous survival pressure is attacking the hearts of the survivors. In the deepest part of the peaceful sea, people embrace the challenges of a new day with confusion and uncertainty. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Make sure to get to know each other in the next life. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Make sure to get to know each other in the next life. Mirage number 1, a large luxury cruise ship. The captain is leading the crew to count supplies. As a tourist ship, carrying a month's worth of food, there is currently no shortage of supplies. And the superpower who could emit flames all over his body was talking to the captain about something, looking somewhat dissatisfied, as if questioning why they had run to this haunted place. How big is this sea? If they can't find the new continent, will they all starve to death? Are the supplies on board evenly distributed or given weight? I am a superpower, why can't I have more resources? Violence is the underlying logic of human society. Love and tolerance are not worth mentioning in the face of survival. The current order has not yet collapsed. It is entirely due to the inertia of the past. World number 2 is a large cargo ship, with containers opened one by one. The crew is trying to find more food among the cargo. But the so-called cargo ships naturally transport goods, mainly industrial products, and most of the food is high-end products such as red wine, champagne, and chocolate. Isn't it called stealing without asking? The foreigners have also started stealing, and I admire it. This is a hero's act of self-rescue. Bulls and horses are gone. The nationality of the number 3 oil tanker is quite complex, and there has been a serious internal chaos. The crew members have condemned the captain for mishandling the route, leading them to an unknown and mysterious area. The captain was also at a loss for words, unable to figure out what was going on. Therefore, the crew quickly formed a group based on nationality. Under extreme external pressure, uniting to overcome difficulties can only be considered a luxury. Among the 16 mirages, only 2 teams looked careless, and one was an isolated individual. Since there was only one person, it was impossible to think of internal turmoil. There is also an Arctic scientific research team, which is already exploring the Arctic, so the team's quality is excellent. This is just the second day. More people around the world are attracted to Mirage 7. On an ocean-going whaling ship, a group of people gathered together, and one of them viciously slapped the other, cursing something. Immediately after, the two of them struggled together. The deep-sea whaling activities of the Fusang people have always been notorious. Whales, as endangered animals, are protected by most countries, but the Fusang people use scientific research as a reason to drive ships deep into the Pacific and hunt whales that other countries have worked hard to protect. This time, a ship of people were trapped in a mysterious area, and several sailors awakened their superpowers, including a young man who used to have a relatively low status and was often bullied. He was used to PUA and now suddenly became arrogant. Even worse, there were some foreign laborers on this whaling ship, whose status was already relatively low, and a superpower was born. The captain's name is Minghui Omiya, and the deck captain's name is Hiroshi Noda, both of whom have no superpowers. So, things became more complicated. The ocean, the true extraterrestrial land. Unlike land, people who are accustomed to living on the ocean are more loyal to the underlying logic based on violence and keep hidden the underlying rules. A whaling ship, in a desperate predicament in endless sea, quickly split into three factions. The originally lower-ranked superpowers gave birth to subtle ambitions. The captain and several incompetent individuals still want to control the overall situation. There is also a foreign labor camp that is anxious and afraid of being thrown into the sea. The Mirage has no sound, like a silent movie, and netizens can only speculate from the scene what happened to Mirage. No. 7. Let me brainstorm the plot for everyone. They believe they have traveled to a different world, an endless sea, and no matter what, resources are not enough. They want to throw people from other countries into the sea. The whaling activity of the little man's character Drag has finally been punished by God. It is said that the people of Fusang have had a tradition of descending and ascending since ancient times, and now they have finally witnessed it. The Fusang kingdom, which is at the forefront of the storm, cannot admit this matter. It forcefully argues that the whaling operation is for scientific research, controlling whale populations, and for sustainable development. Even claiming that the Mirage is just a delusion of nature and a false product. But these sophistry are all of no use, and countless pairs of eyes around the world are paying attention to this matter. People only believe what they see. If the Fusang people really throw foreign laborers into the sea, it would be like losing face in front of the world and triggering huge national hatred. At that time, the diplomatic disputes and waves of public opinion that may arise will be like a tsunami, completely submerging this country. Zhang Ming naturally had no idea what was happening in the outside world. He was just burying his head in organizing the supplies at hand. My mood is like riding a roller coaster, surprised and happy, crying and laughing. Each suitcase represents a lost life, and some of the owner's personality traits can be vaguely seen from the object. But they are also precious gifts, adding a small chance to the difficult survival ahead. High heels, black silk, vibrators, condoms, lubricants. Zhang Ming remembered that among the passengers, there were some amazing beauties, with heavy makeup on their faces, black silk legs, and fragrant perfume, which was simply the top beauty at the model level. When I boarded the plane, I even took a few extra glances. I will definitely get to know you in my next life. Even if these things are not very useful, I have accepted them. Spirit value +1, next package. Children's clothing and toys, as well as a large amount of diapers and milk powder. Give a slight sigh. I'll take the milk powder. Urinary diapers. Maybe they can also come in handy, thank you. Next package. Tent, flashlight, rope, GPS, radio, dagger. You must be an outdoor enthusiast, right? Going hiking in Hawaii is really a good choice. It's quite nice to take a walk around the island, isn't it? Unfortunately, there's no food available. Wait a moment. Zhang Ming was stunned for a moment, his pupils dilated and he was overjoyed. This package is definitely even more advanced than Jinhua Ham, the Supreme Golden Invincible SSR level. Because there is a radio and a tent inside. Especially, this radio is still solar powered, and it can work for a long time by being exposed to the sun every day. It's simply incredibly moving. Zhang Ming scratched his neck in surprise, swallowed a mouthful of saliva, turned on the radio switch, and a rustling sound sounded, indicating that there was no radio signal in this area. According to the radio instructions, there will be satellite broadcasting around 6 p.m. every day, which will be the only channel for oneself to connect with human society. Maybe one day, we can hear the news of the rescue team landing on the island. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. What is civilization? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. What is civilization? Zhang Ming hugged the radio and tent tightly, and could not help crying. This brother or sisters owes you in this life, and will pay you back in the next life. The next packages were driven one by one. There were no particularly good living materials, but more or less there were gains. There were also some food such as instant noodles, cola, biscuits, pickled peppers and chicken feet, plus Chinese condiments such as laoganma, fermented bean curd, and hot pot primer. There are also basic tools such as scissors and knives. But Zhang Ming's tense heartstrings have yet to ease. It seemed as if there was a breath of depression blocking his chest, making it difficult for him to catch his breath. If he didn't do something, this depression would be permanently suppressed. These luggage are all lost lives, transformed into his property. The last box is still a bag of clothes, with some contracts written in English in the folder and $5,000 in cash. All blind boxes have been opened. Not including ham, the food is expected to last for 10 days. Water takes about 10 days. The total amount of banknotes is $270,000. Sigh. Zhang Ming remained silent for a moment, dug a small pit, put in a few clothes and hats, and made a small clothes and hat tomb. Move another big coconut onto the pit as a tombstone. Using a marker, I wrote a few small lines on the surface of the coconut. DS-898 Flight, Tomb of the Crashed Personnel. The only survivor, Zhang Ming, is worshipped. On, date, month, year. After finishing all of this, the suffocating depression slowly dissipated. Raising my head, I looked at the sea of clouds winding red for thousands of miles. At the end of the sky, that little maple red turned into a deep black void. The reason why rituals can continue to spread is not because of their own significance, but because of the meaning they bring to humanity. What is the meaning of life? Perhaps it is the so-called inheritance. Thank you for your gifts. I will live with your hope. Definitely. There was a serious internal conflict in the ship of Mirage No. 7, and a small group of people were locked up. Unfortunately, no one was killed. After all, it was only the second day trapped in a mysterious area, and the inertia from civilized society still existed. A group of netizens who wanted to eat big melons were all disappointed in their hearts. People can't wait to see blood flowing into rivers, but they never realize that this is just a microcosm of disaster. When a disaster truly occurs, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, billions of people, in fact, it is all like this. Soon, someone else focused their attention on Mirage No. 16. The island survivor erected a coconut by the seaside and wrote a few lines of text. When they saw a few lines of text on the coconut, a large group of people on the internet were immediately puzzled and gloated. Look, he's already crazy. He treats coconuts like humans. Ha ha ha. Idiot, he just made a tomb to worship his deceased companions. Unfortunately, the image of the Mirage is too blurry to see what text he wrote clearly. In the midst of disasters and desperate situations, a large group of people are engaged in internal strife, competing for survival resources. Suddenly, a scene appears where humans are worshipping the dead, bringing a sense of unease and subtlety. Finally, the yin and yang people couldn't think of words and could only curse one sentence. He pretended to be alone and had no companions, so he could only offer sacrifices to the deceased. If he had companions, there would still be internal strife. It's not a big deal, it can even be said to be self-psychological compensation for taking the deceased's property. This can also be sprayed. I can go to your mother's psychological compensation. All history is human history, from the East African grasslands to the Bering Strait, from the Paleolithic era to the Information Age. The sun remains that sun, and the world has always been that world. But people's hearts have changed many times. At 9 p.m. in the Washington time zone, Peter Greer, a professor of psychology at Harvard University, published a Bluebird tweet. What is human, what is civilization? If a person's revered laws are destroyed by reality, and if a person collapses in disaster, then what remains of humanity's great dreams? The reason why gods, heroes, and poets exist is to provide the hope and illusion necessary for the survival of the human alliance. When the world is no longer generous, where should we go? Where is our pride? When humans die in the mysterious zone, what kind of punishment will the world bring us? He seemed to have hinted at something, but he didn't say it directly. Who do you think you are? If you want to be a moral police officer, are you a god, a hero, a poet, or a priest? Said the hornet's nest, attracting a lot of spray fire. Wake up, you're just a nerd. Of course, there are also some rational voices seriously exploring the issue. Professor, I have a big question. What does the emergence of a mirage mean? There isn't much difference between the various opinions on the internet and the team's performance in the Mirage, right? So, humans are just a mob. The revelation of God has no meaning. Some people are celebrating the end of the day and say, accelerate, hurry up. I want to see blood flow like a river. However, no matter how many inquiries netizens post, this professor of psychology has not made any comments. It was getting late, and after sorting out all the luggage, it was already evening. Tall and towering trees, with straight and sturdy trunks, and palm leaves stretching out in mid-air like dark clouds descending on islands. In the tall jungle, Zhang Ming found a withered tree with no leaves on it, so he didn't have to worry about the sudden high-altitude throwing that would explode him into meat sauce. The diameter of the withered tree is over 20 meters, and there is also a small sunken hole in it. Let's set up a tent here and listen to the radio. By the way. It's around 6 p.m., so there may be satellite broadcasting. Debugging the radio, a sizzling sound sounded. Carefully adjusting. There's a sound. Good evening, listeners. I am broadcaster Li Xianfeng. Today, I will bring you first-hand news. Cataclysms are happening around the world, and global earthquakes and volcanoes are still ongoing. Electrical noise. Economic shutdown. Most parts of our country are located in non-seismic zones. The disasters we have experienced are relatively limited. As the most complete industrial country in the industrial chain, we have sufficient capabilities to ensure that all people work together. ZZ. Listening to the radio, I became even more motivated in my work. Human beings are indeed social animals. This Li Xianfeng may be the only human he can come into contact with in the future, and Zhang Ming wishes this guy could chat a few more words. The cause of the global disaster has not yet been identified. Scholars have proposed multiple different hypotheses. End of this chapter.